Today is the first day that I have been out of the loony bin. It's called the Center for Neuro Skills, and I'm not insulting the patients at all. I loved the patients. I really bonded with them. I just got a laugh from them when I called it the loony bin because they knew we were referring to the doctors when we called it the loony bin. But I offered this anecdote as, well, it's about an experience that I had yesterday. It is a symbol of hope, which these days I think is important. But I was in the back of my Uber. See, I can no longer drive, and I still consider myself to be a road rat. But I have to take it because I'm going to the Center for Neuro Skills 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. And as we turned onto the road that leads to the medical center, for the first time, I recognized where I was. It was in the town of BK. It's a beautiful area. It's kind of the Piedmont of the hill country, if such a thing exists. It's got striped layers of rock and limestone along the highway. And it was there that I saw this vintage, mid-century neon sign, ironically, of a pig advertising barbecue. Now, I don't know how much the pig likes advertising barbecue, but I digress. I recognized the sign. How could I not? And even though I had passed it a dozen or more times on my way to the Center Neuro Skills, I hadn't noticed it until today. And then almost immediately, suddenly, as if in a flash, I remembered that about a quarter mile up the road, there's the entranceway to a hotel and a resort. And I remembered that place, not because I've ever stayed there, but because I had worked there probably 50 times as a stagehand since I moved to Austin just a couple of years ago. And I had not noticed it before, though I had passed it countless times in the past couple of weeks. It was, frankly, profound for me. It was the first time since my accident that I genuinely felt like I knew where I was. And an uncomfortable number of times in the past few weeks, I had sat in the back of an Uber, completely in a fog, unsure of where I was or where I was going, and what the hell is the Center for Neuro Skills anyway? However, in that moment, remembering that neon sign, I was present. I was alone, but I freaking knew where I was. And I felt hope. I mean, I had sat on the porch in the morning trying to scribble out another pointed poem about sunrise as I prepared for the Neuro Center. But for the first time since my accident, I knew the way. And that's when I realized that my poetry had shifted. And I wanted to write about seeing the light. And then I stopped. And I started writing this very anecdote because I wanted to write about finding the light. The light of a vintage mid-century neon sign made me want to write about finding the light without maybe ever using the word light. Because you see, I'm of a certain age. And I grew up with the Bugs Bunny and the Roadrunner cartoons. I identified with them, and maybe not for the reasons that you're thinking. Because I wanted to grow up to be a road runner. And I grew up to be one. But the thing is, they don't mention in those cartoons is that the road runner can fly. Yeah, I ran the roads for years with a woman named Ann Feeney. And I remembered being with her in a bar in Pittsburgh. And there was a big screen television set over the bar. And they were showing signs of a picture of a bus that had fallen into a sinkhole. It was an astounding picture. The bus was sitting in a hole at a 45-degree angle. We looked at each other, astounded. When we finished our drinks, we got up to leave. We looked out the window of that bar in Pittsburgh, and I am not making this up. That bus was right outside the bar we were in. I'm not making that part up. Storytelling is the art of telling truth with lies. And there was this guy stuck down in that hole. And he was shouting out for help. And this doctor walked by and he said, "Hey, Doc, I'm stuck down here in the hole. Can you help?" And the doctor, he stopped, pulled out his pad, wrote out a prescription for Prozac, tossed that prescription back down in the hole, and the doctor walked on down the road. And then this priest walked by, and the guy in the hole yelled, "Hey, Padre, I'm stuck down in the hole. Can you help?" And the Padre, he stopped and he wrote out a prayer for salvation, redemption, and deliverance. He tossed the prayer down in the hole and walked towards Providence. But then, the guy's friend walked by and he yelled, "Hey, Joe, I'm stuck down here in the hole. Can you help?" But Joe just jumped down in the hole with him. The guy said, "Hey, Joe, what'd you do that for? Now there's two of us down here." And Joe says, "Yeah, I know, but I've been down here before, and I know the way out." And that, my friends, that is when I saw the light. Whoops, I mentioned the word light again.